figured I'd make a quick video detailing kind of a bit of the journey to start up. And I've shown a lot of the developmental stuff I did for the fan controller. There's a few other projects in the works too. A few of the bigger names know about them, but I haven't sent any hardware out. The big thing that's been holding everything up is, and still is actually, insurance. And in forming a startup and building something from the ground up, I've learned a great deal about insurance, a lot that I'd rather not know. But one of the bigger things I've learned is if you're going to get insurance for a commercial entity, as a startup, do it before you do anything at all, before you know what your product will be. That's probably the best time to get some sort of insurance. The next best is going to be you're fully funded, you've dumped hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I literally mean hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially in the hardware realm, into stuff where it's ready to go. If you're in that in-between, if you're a hardware company especially, and you're using a lean startup methodology, which involves user feedback, you're probably in the same boat as I am. So let's kind of get into that. So the unfortunate thing is I'm in a bit of a terrible storm for the insurance industry right now. In this province alone, there's been major issues the last few years between flooding and forest fires and hail. The hail damage is pretty constant as far as I understand, but they've got things like a couple of 100-year floods. They've got the massive forest fires in the north of Alberta. It's been really terrible for the insurance industry. I mean, and combine that with, like, very unfortunately, I had a Subaru WRX, and someone decided to cut through a parking lot and they tore off the front bumper. The car starts at $30,000 Canadian. Somehow, my plastics repair bill, like, they replaced anything they could. The only metal things it touched, there was a small dent in my fender, and maybe the hood. The hood got replaced for a dent this big in the corner that could have been bent back. The repair bill that the insurance company suffered was 15,000 Canadian dollars. There was no structural damage. There was no, like really, if you could just buy the parts and have them painted, you could just bolt them on in a garage. Almost no body work had to be done. Corner by the light may have had to be bent back. Maybe they repaint that panel. So this general abuse in the insurance industry has led to the last couple of years them getting very tight on everything. They are looking to drop anyone in every sector. So I created a startup. I built something that has more risks than an average sports tech product because it plugs into the wall. Doesn't matter the design, it plugs into the wall. And then I apparently have a cat. He might stick around. So I've just had to, hey, that's my cable. I've just entered in at a really wrong time for the insurance industry and a wrong time for my company, because if I did it earlier when I didn't really have an idea, if I did it later when it's all fully certified, those were better times. So as a result, almost nobody will give me insurance. And to tell them that people outside of the company, I want them to test. And that's how lean startups work. I've just been in this position where we can't find anyone to take this. And The worst part of it is when I ask, what is wrong? I can't get any feedback. And they're working on it. The number of people who have asked, so do you make the bike? No, it says here, I make a controller that is a small box that plugs into a fan. So you make the fan. My God, no. And I've sent them the website. I've sent them detailed explanations. I have highlighted in photos and pictures and 2D drawings exactly what I make or plan to make in a production setting. And they can't seem to figure it out. And I guess it's if someone came to me with, oh, you don't understand the base of the makeup material. You don't understand. But it's something that, like, a quick Wikipedia trip or a quick search on the internet, or if I was provided with, like, oh, here is the chemicals we use, I should be able to understand it. But I've been struggling to get anyone to actually understand what I'm building. And I mean, it may be that, cycling is a niche market, but smart trainers alone are in the 300,000 unit a year sales worldwide. But I mean, when you think of those market demographic, that's kind of 300,000 new sales of something that is expected to last several years, but is of a market of only 700 million people. So cumulatively, it's like, I'm going to do math, like, maybe a million or 2 million people out of 700 million. So 1/350th of the population. So it may not be that big of a demographic, but people understand, more people understand and know Peloton than Zwift, than Trainer Road. And I've tried to put it in the context, but they just don't get it. So hopefully it's sorted. I pretty much have it sorted. I have to execute on it and pay for it. But there's going to be these huge major exclusions, and it's been really, really tough. And because of this, it's really made me want to focus on some of the other things, because it just keeps building, and that's really disheartening. A few people have started to help me out in the company. I guess on an official capacity, which has been really nice. It's really nice to supplement my own knowledge and ideas. But it's been this really big uphill battle. So the only thing I advise for startups 101 on if you're building a hardware startup, especially if you're building, try and get your insurance sorted out beforehand. Because as you develop a product, once you're in it, they'll be more inclined to add something to it or change your coverage than when they analyze that, oh, you've done all of these things and now there's inherent risks. Alternatively, lawyer up on waivers. That's kind of been my other option. I just don't like it. But so it's been quite the learning experience.